Ladies, gentlemen, and other androgynous creatures, welcome to a bit of a departure from my usual music-related content, but if you follow me on Twitter, you probably know that I am a Formula 1 fan. In fact, I've been a lifelong fan. I've watched each and every race since the year 1999, albeit my first memory of a Formula 1 race was Kimi Räikkönen taking his first victory at the 2003 Malaysian Grand Prix, thus cementing my lifelong love for the sport and for Kimi Räikkönen. When I started this channel back in 2017, I never wanted to just stick to music-related content. I always wanted to make videos on music. Of course, I'd say that's pretty obvious at this point, but I always had intentions on making Formula 1 videos, James Bond-related videos, maybe some film, television show, and video game reviews. So honestly, a Formula 1 video on this channel has been a long time coming. And with the latest bullshit that's been coming out of 1997 world champion Jacques Villeneuve's mouth, that just shot a Formula 1 video straight to the top of my itinerary. So without further ado, let's do this.
And that's one of the greatest things I've ever seen in Grand Prix racing.
We make the sound of the satellite, breaking through gravity. I am Jagger 67. I'm affected, you're selected. I want you with your twisted hair and your lip ring stare. I want you today.
By my calculations, we win the championship by 1 point.
So what all did little Jacques Villeneuve have to say about everyone's favorite honey badger, Daniel Ricciardo?
Why is he still in F1? Why? What? We're hearing the same thing now for the last 4 or 5 years. We have to make the car better for him, poor him. Sorry, it's been 5 years of that. No, you're in F1. Maybe you make that effort for Lewis Hamilton, who's won multiple championships. You don't make that effort for a driver that can't cut it. If you can't cut it, go home. There's someone else to take your place. That's how it's always been in racing. It's the pinnacle of the sport. There's no reason to keep going and to keep finding excuses. And you all talk about that first season or first 2 seasons. He was beating a Vettel that was burnt out, that was trying to invent things with the car to go win, and just making a mess of his weekends. And then he was beating for half a season Verstappen when Verstappen was 18 years old, just starting. Then that was it. He stopped beating anyone after that.
I mean, that's quite a harsh look at his career. From your point of view then, do you think he's been overrated the whole time?
I think it's his image has kept it in F1 more than his actual results.
Now, Jacques Villeneuve is no stranger to saying brain-smashingly retarded shit, and normally people just scoff and ignore it. Villeneuve hasn't been relevant since the year 1997, so nobody really gives him the time of day because, honestly, nobody respects him. He's so unlikable, even his hair plugs fled his bleach-stained scalp, not to mention his abysmal attempt at music sold a whopping 1,069 copies worldwide. Not only because it was a shitty album, because nobody gave a shit. But this particular shit flinging has to be the quintessential example of pot calling the kettle black in Formula 1 history. But best of all has to be Danny Rick's response.
You've had
your critics this weekend. Is that a good way to answer them?
I've just been told. I don't listen or read, but yeah, there's definitely some people out there who yeah, whatever. I won't give him the time of day, but yeah, top 5. I've been quick all weekend. We're less than 2/10 from pole, so.
Get it, Danny Rick. Now, honestly, at this point, I figured the story would end there, and I didn't hear anything for the next few days. I guess it takes Villeneuve a few days to figure out how to respond to people that throw his shit back at him. His reaction was a little bit personal, and he's a role model. Kids are listening to you. You cannot make it personal. Like, no shit it was personal. You personally attacked him, you dipshit. Maybe you have been hit in the head a few too many times. Like, seriously, Villeneuve, your mother didn't drop you when you were a baby. She threw you. Clearly you haven't heard the phrase, don't dish it out if you can't take it back. I'm happy to have learned that I knocked myself out too often playing ice hockey, but ultimately you will get criticism. You need a thick skin, and I got under his skin, but it got better for his driving, but it's not enough. He needs to do more of this. Jacques, Christopher Snow has thicker skin than you. Ricciardo literally just told you to eat shit, and you're honestly wondering why? And you're getting butthurt about it too? Christ, you know it's bad when Crash Door Maldonado has more self-awareness than you. Oh, but this is where it gets good. Oh, this is brilliant. Are you ready? When asked if he was standing by his comments, Villeneuve responded, "Yes, he was quick, but you're only as good as your last few results." Alright, let's look at Villeneuve's last few results, shall we? 2006 season. Retired 7th, 6th, 12th, 8th, 12th, 14th, 8th. Retired, 11th, retired. Left the sport in disgrace halfway through the season, and his replacement, Robert Kubica, got a podium within 3 races. In fact, Kubica would have had more points in just 6 races to Villeneuve's 12. Had Kubica not gotten disqualified at the Hungarian Grand Prix for an underweight car. But let's go further into this, shall we? 2005 season. 2004 season. Okay, to be fair, Villeneuve decided to take a sabbatical that year and do what all washed up or failed Formula 1 drivers do and flee to NASCAR, but even NASCAR didn't want him. Whoops! Luckily for Villeneuve, Jarno Trulli-Train was fired from Renault that year for reasons unknown to us to this day, besides Flavio Briatore being a dick. So finally, Villeneuve had a race-winning car for the first time since 1997. Finally, he could prove his worth and win. I'm sorry, I couldn't even finish that with a straight face. 0 points finishes, while Alonso finished in the top 5 in those 3 races. Man, that Alonso curse really is a thing. But let's move on, shall we? 2003. 2002. 2001. Oh shit, he actually managed a couple podiums. Granted, they would be the last of his career, and he inherited those 3rd place finishes from other drivers crashing out or having engine failures. Either way, he somehow managed to finish in the top 10 of the championship that year. On to 2000. Shockingly, he had an okay year, a few points finishes, and he actually managed to finish P7 in the championship as well. 1999, absolutely pitiful. 1998, actually this year could have been worse. He managed to get some respectable points finishes and 2 podiums, finished P5 in the championship. So overall, an absolutely dreadful career in Formula 1. You're only as good as your last few races, huh, Jacques? You just destroyed yourself with those words. Guess it takes a washed-up driver to know a washed-up driver. Except here's the thing, Danny Ric, in terms of his career as a whole, has had a more successful career than Jacques Villeneuve. Sure, Villeneuve won a championship. In fact, it's the only one-up he has on Danny Ric, but only because Michael Schumacher was an absolute idiot that day. But after that, Villeneuve was completely and utterly useless from 1998 onwards. Danny Ric, on the other hand, has won races throughout his career, has more podiums, has more point finishes, and has performed better in shitty machinery than Villeneuve has had in a decent machinery. Not to mention the fact that after Villeneuve fled Formula 1, he didn't do anything special after that either. He took part in the 2007 and 2008 24 Hours of Le Mans, his team taking 2nd in the 2008 race. The same team did take a win at the 24 Hours of Spa that same year, but from 2009 to 2020, he didn't win a goddamn thing. Not one. Finally, in 2021, he took 2 wins in NASCAR's well in Euro Series. Whoop-de-doo, Basil. But if you really look at his career as a whole, he has more zeros than Bernie Ecclestone's bank account. Get out of here, you goofy Canadian bastard, eh? But look, it's not just Villeneuve that does this shit. Ralf Schumacher is just as guilty as Villeneuve, but Ralf has a reason for being critical. He knows what a great driver is. He would know because his brother was arguably the best. Plus, Ralf Schumacher's takes are infinitely more agreeable than Jacques Villeneuve's. But when you have all these has-beens criticizing drivers that are consistently better than them, or in the case of Franz Verschuer, I'm not going to even pretend I pronounced that correctly, criticizing drivers when you're literally a nobody whatsoever. Like, look, Franz, why don't you get your rapidly decaying skull in the helmet, strap your fat ass in the Sauber, and show the 10-time race winner how it's done? No, seriously, I challenge you. Valtteri Bottas can take a week and go film some more hilarious commercials in Australia, while the rest of the world can have the pleasure of watching you go out there and drive down the track at 26 miles an hour. Why don't you stick to sucking Max Verstappen's dick to the tune of Max, 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 Super, Max, Max, Super, Super, Max, 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 Super, Max, Max, Super, Super, Max on a minutely basis? Well, that escalated quickly, and on that bombshell, it's time to end. Baphomet out.
Only from the score, what you get, revenge and a little more, you know I'm bad. I'm done up for, stick near with me. I'm right to see the gold, fool, you know me. Don't like my style, wait and see, it takes a little while. Play the fool, here comes I go. Piece of tail, it's sure let you know, cross the fool. Only from the score, what you get, revenge and a little more, you know I'm bad.